All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome this evening. We are so excited. Welcome to She Healthy Woman. We are live. Please let us know that you're here when you tune in. All right. Thank you. Hello, Chandrell. We want to just thank you for joining us this evening. We have a fantastic episode 10. We are going to be looking at and really honoring some of our Black women in medicine. And we also have the wonderful privilege of having Dr. Michelle Palmer with us, and we'll tell you a little bit more about her. But for right now, we want you to go ahead and chime in. Let us know that you're here. We cannot wait to talk to you about today's topic. My name is Phyllis Booz, and I will give you even more information on me in a bit. This is Sisters Healing and Evolving, She Healthy Woman, and we are excited. So, Dr. Palmer, hello, hello, hello.
Hello, everyone. I am excited, elated to be here. Um,
Yes,
Thank you so much for allowing me to share this space. I am so excited. It's Black History Month. It's always good
yes.
to be in the presence of powerful Black women.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So, what I'm going to do before we get to know a little bit more about you, again, greetings on behalf of Sisters Healing and Involving. Sisters Healing and Involving is a nonprofit organization in Charlotte. The organization's mission is to create a positive impact in the lives of women and men globally. But first, starting at home, she is a 501c3 charitable organization that is providing knowledge, access, and support to resources that do not only impact the participant's life, but the family life as well and the community. So we are so grateful for what she is doing in the community to heighten productivity. One of our core programs is She Healthy Woman. We meet every fourth Monday of the month, and this connects with our community-based partners to provide health and wellness services and education. We offer She Healthy Woman offers a monthly virtual discussion, which we are doing now. I am Phyllis Booz, and I am a proud She board member, and I am the education director and facilitator of She Healthy Woman. I am also the proud CEO of Capacity Wellness, where we build our capacity for you to be well. We educate, we equip, and we empower people to build their capacity for health by providing health education like tonight, wellness coaching, both individual and group, and movement opportunities. So, tonight, without further ado, I am excited about this opportunity. I met this young lady last month, guys. And when I tell you it was a God thing, it was an answer to a prayer. Dr. Michelle Marie Palmer is a Black maternal health expert. She is a native of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and she began her journey to doctor when she discovered the field of social work while attending Johnson C. Smith University in Charlotte. Shout out, yes. She would later continue her quest in wanting to understand the human behavior at Washington University, attending the George Warren Brown School of Social Work in St. Louis, Missouri. Well, during her time in Missouri, Dr. Palmer had dual roles as the director of teen services for the Boys and Girls Club and clinical case manager at Better Family Life LLC. She would also meet her husband during her 2.5 year stint. So Dr. Palmer and her husband traveled back to North Carolina in hopes of planting roots and starting a family. And upon their arrival, she would take a therapist job for a local nonprofit where she worked for 10 months. Following that role, she would take a short sabbatical from social work. Well, she began to volunteer with a homeless support agency, formerly known as Urban Ministry. And after volunteering for 5 months, she became employed as the medical outreach coordinator for the agency. Awesome. Well done. She stayed in this role until she became pregnant with her now 7-year-old daughter. And she transitioned into her current role as the director of resources. In 2018, she enrolled in the University of Southern California. The Susan, is it DeWalk Peck?
Warwick.
Okay, Doric Peck School of Social Work program to obtain her doctorate degree. Dr. Palmer completed her degree in social innovation with a focus on Black maternal health in December of 2020. And Dr. Palmer's passion lies in ensuring that African American women have successful birthing and postpartum experiences. So, if you have not shared this link with someone that you know could benefit from the knowledge and the expertise of Dr. Palmer, please do so now. Yes, welcome, Dr. Palmer.
Thank you.
Yes, this is
Thank you.
wonderful, wonderful. And so, in keeping with the Black History Month. And before I have you share a little bit, that was a tremendous bio, but is there anything else you would like to kind of share with us before we get into the meat of the subject?
Just that I'm excited about this conversation. I want this conversation to move further than this space here. What we're going to talk about tonight is some serious things, but I do think that there's some knowledge and resources that we can take away from today. So I'm glad you are here, but the conversation won't stop here. We need to continue the conversation outside of this space as well.
Yeah, awesome. You are so right. And where we're going to continue this conversation is really kind of starting from the beginning. Okay. So before we get into some of the information that Dr. Palmer has for us tonight, we would like to show an honor to just a few of African American women in medicine. And we have the website that we got this information from, and we would love for you to go to the website and read it. There were 61 women. And so we pulled out some, really fantastic accomplishments of some of the African American women from way back in the 1800s, even to even current day. So I am going to share my screen, and we are going to show this video real quick. All right. And I think we should be good. All right. So now I know that went fast, and you were probably saying, okay, I need to slow down on that information. So what we're going to do is I am going to actually play another version, and we're going to spend a little time just talking about each individual person just briefly, because this is very noteworthy. So the first woman that we would like to highlight is Rebecca Davis Lee Crumpler. And on March the 6th, 1864, Crumpler received a doctorate of medicine from the New England Female Medical College. She was 33 years old. She remains the only African American woman to receive a medical degree from the school. And since in 1874, it merged with Boston University. She began to practice medicine in Boston, such as the topic that we're talking about tonight, maternal and child health, pregnancy, nursing, and teething. That is Dr. Rebecca Davis Lee Crumpler. The next person we would like to highlight, she is Rebecca Cole. She is the second African American woman to receive a medical degree in the United States. During the Civil War, Cole entered the Women's Medical College of Pennsylvania, which was founded by Quaker abolitionists and temperance reformers in 1840. There, she studied under the supervision of Anne Preston, the first woman dean of the American Medical School. By enrolling in medical school at this early age, Cole was truly a pioneer. Her senior thesis was entitled The Eye and the Appendages. That was Dr. Cole. The next one, Marilyn Hughes Gaston. Dr. Marilyn Hughes Gaston was the first American woman to direct a public service bureau, the Bureau of Primary Health Care in the United States Department of Health and Social Services. Dr. Gaston faced poverty and prejudice as a young student, but was determined to become a physician. She has dedicated her career to medical care for poor and minority families and campaigns for health care equality for all Americans. Her 1986 study of sickle cell disease led to a nationwide screening program to test newborns for immediate treatment, and she was the first African American woman to direct a public health service bureau. That is a Dr. Gaston. Also, Dr. Regina Benjamin. She was the first African American woman to become president of the State of Medical Society of Alabama. Dr. Benjamin served as the 18th U.S. Surgeon General from 2009 to 2013, appointed by very own President Barack Obama. Prior to her tenure as the nation's physician, she practiced as a country doctor in rural Alabama. As founder and CEO of the Rural Bayou Clinic in Bayou La Batterie, Dr. Regina Benjamin is making a difference to the underserved poor in a small fishing village on the Gulf Coast of Alabama. So that is Dr. Benjamin. Next, we have Dr. Alexis Kennedy, the first African American woman in the United States to become a neurosurgeon. Amazing. Dr. Kennedy earned her BS degree in zoology from the University of Michigan in 1971 and graduated from the medical school there in 1975. The summer after her junior year, she explains, I worked in Dr. Bloom's lab in genetics and attended a genetics counseling clinic. I fell in love with medicine. In her work as a neurosurgeon, she saw young patients facing life-threatening illnesses, gunshot wounds, head traumas, hydrocephaly, and other brain injuries or diseases. And throughout her 20-year career in pediatric neurosurgery, Dr. Kennedy has helped thousands of patients, most of them 10 years and younger. All right. And then we have Dr. Georgia Dwell, established the first obstetrical lying in hospital for African American women in Atlanta. She faced considerable hardship and discrimination, yet she continued to believe that no profession was better suited to serve humanity than medicine, and that competent women physicians could find or create their own opportunities within the profession if they had to. All right. And then the last one, we have Dr. Renee Jenkins, the first African American president of the Society of Adolescent Medicine. Dr. Jenkins was the first African American elected as president of the American Academy of Pediatricians. She earned her undergraduate and medical degrees at Wayne State University in Detroit, and there, as an African American woman in a predominantly white school, she encounters subtle messages of prejudice and low expectations for minority students. So I share all of this to say that there is so much that women of color have shared and have done to make sure that we have equality in healthcare. So, with that being said, Dr. Palmer, I would love for you to share with us just how you got involved and how your interest in Black maternal health care came about.
Well, honestly, I had a baby in 2015, and it was the most horrible experience I have encountered. That's why I only still have one child.
Wow. Okay.
But it was, I had already always knew that, I would pursue social work and get a doctorate degree. And at the time, and currently, I'm in homeless services, and I just, she turned 3, and I just felt like God was speaking to me. I have something larger than what you can imagine, and so from 2000, probably 2012, I had been thinking about, okay, what am I going to get my doctorate in? What am I going to get my doctorate in? And one day, I was still going through postpartum, and I woke up and said, this can't be it. And I was on social media, and I saw a link for social work for the degree. I explored the program, and when it talked about social innovation and the grand health challenges of social work, and there's 12 of them, I said, this is it. This is it. And so I started the journey in 2018, and we had to decide, what's going to be your specialization, what. And so I just prayed. I said, God, I want to, make sure that my purpose is aligned with you. And it just kept coming up, and I'm gonna share later in this in my presentation about a woman who had encountered some of the same experiences that I did. And that's how I got on the journey of Black maternal health, and I just haven't looked back since.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us a little bit about, where your studies have led you. What are some things that you have learned through experience as well as through your studies? What are some of the disparities? What are some of the things that, what does Black maternal health all encompass?
It encompasses racism, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's what you're going to hear.
Mm-hmm.
There's social determinants of health that impact Black maternal mortality, because Black maternal health is the arena, but really what we're talking about is Black maternal mortality, which is death of women during pregnancy and thereafter.
Mm-hmm.
um and so really we're going to explore like those disparities in that and what that looks like through the presentation. But um really the underlining cause is racism. And this is not me making this up. Their literature, the data is there. And it is evident that racism is the the contributor.
Mm-hmm. So when you think about some of these women who started, in the 1800s, and now you would say and you would think, okay, we've come a long way. What are some of the things that you would say has not changed?
Implicit bias,
Mm-hmm.
and prejudice, um the accessibility, the social determinants of health that African American and marginalized people experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about the experiences that you know of.
um you know uh just in general for women, and going to the doctor, um
Mm-hmm.
the complications of, we there's this notion that Black women are strong, and we don't experience pain, and we can endure um all things encompassing. And when we go and we say, this is bothering me, it's pushed under the rug, it's swept under the rug, and it's, oh, you can endure it. But what's happening is that we're not being heard.
Mm-hmm.
We're not being taken seriously. We're not being listened to. And I think that one of the biggest things is that we can't stop talking. We can't stop saying that this is occurring. Black maternal mortality is a big thing, but it's not, why is there not a call to action for this right now? Why,
Mm-hmm.
when we know what the numbers are, and how it's impacting the generation of Black women, why is there not a call to action? Why is it not more publicized? Why is it hidden? And the reality is because it's killing us internally, right?
Mm,
It's not, the blood being shed is that, a husband go home and bury his wife, and that story's untold. Those stories
mm,
aren't told. And
mm.
so that's my biggest pillar, is to share those untold stories, because they're happening more and more prevalent than we would imagine.
Hmm. So I know that you have been in multiple states. Have you seen any differences by state that you
Absolutely.
experienced? Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Just thinking about North Carolina and the fact that we didn't expand Medicaid, and New York and New Jersey, they're making headways with Black maternal health, because
Mm,
they are employing innovation and employing doula and doula services. They are trying new things. They are not using
mm,
the same old medical systems and outcomes. So definitely through, like, New York and New Jersey, they are, work into their legislation and policies. They're incorporating that to employ doulas so they can, be funded through Medicare, and those things. A lot of insurance providers aren't doulas aren't covered under those carriers, but New York and New Jersey, they're putting in their legislations to do it, to make
yeah.
sure that all that Black women have access to that. Well, we know that the numbers show that, women that are assisted by doulas, they're 4 times less likely to have children with low birth rates. They're 2 times less likely to have a pregnancy complication that involves them or their child. So
Mm.
absolutely, definitely, I would say, um, North Carolina is a little bit behind.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you brought up the doula idea and the concept because, we can get stuck into doing things or get not even stuck, but we can get led
Hmm.
down a road where, this is the standard of care, but it's not the standard of care. The standard of care is what works for that particular woman. And if more women were more aware of the benefits of doula. I mean, that's just not something that is even talked about.
Mm-mm.
It's you're pregnant and you go through your 9 months, you go get your care, your prenatal care, you check in with your doctor, and that's pretty much it. And then you show up to have your baby.
Hmm.
But the whole caring process of learning what your body is doing and learning how to make the environment.
Absolutely.
A lot of time you go into the hospitals or you go into areas and the environment, to give
Especially
birth.
especially for African American women, right?
Mhm.
They're those entities and establishments aren't culturally equipped to
Mm.
address the concerns that we have. But the reality is that doulas and doula care has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
It has been around for a long time. Um,
Mhm.
However, and the data shows that, that it has always been successful birthing experience, and especially in the Black community. Um,
Mhm.
but because it doesn't just address the medical aspect. It addresses the emotional. It addresses the home environment. It provides care within a home after, postpartum. It
Mhm.
provides cooking and laundry service, those things that, some of us,
Mhm.
depending on our social economic status, we don't have that. Or we, like me, I moved away. I'm from
Mhm.
Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and just my husband and I are here. So, I
Mhm.
wasn't afforded, a 6 months of my mom coming, or, his mom coming. So we had to,
Mhm.
experience, but those are some of the services that the doulas provide.
Mhm. Mhm. And like, Chandrell says on here, we need more advocates. We need
Absolutely.
more people, and then platforms like this where we're talking about it and making sure that, young ladies in, all age groups know that this can be available and how to make it available, how to make this information service available for individuals to know that this is an option.
Accessibility. Right now,
Accessibility, absolutely.
you know, to be a doula is almost a hobby. It's not even considered,
Mm,
an employment or a employable opportunity. It's considered like, oh, you're a doula because that's a hobby, or that's something that you want to do. So I think
mhm,
the light of the doula service has to also be advocated for as well.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
the need for what we need in our community. Honestly, the number of doulas that's trained doesn't meet the demand.
Mm. Mhm. So how do you find, women that are interested in becoming doulas? How is the process even available for them? Those that really want to get into this field, what are your thoughts about even the ability for that to be a reality?
So really it's about certifications and licensure. It's not even, and I don't want to misspeak, but right now a lot of medical programs aren't offering doula services as a a specialty or a field of desire for
Mhm.
individuals. And so really it's about looking in your community. The doula community in Charlotte is very small, but like I
Mhm.
stated, in New Jersey and New York is relatively big, and that's how they got the numbers to know that it's actually working, and that's how they were able to go ahead and start putting money in that investment into those doula programs, because they started to see that the women were doing the work, and their outcomes was a lot better than individuals who were going to hospitals and not using midwives or doulas. And so the honest answer is really, you have to Google search, is a doula service in my area? How far out do I have to travel to get the education? Is that someone that, is this offered monthly? How often is this service or certification offered? And the reality is that the information is not very accessible.
Mhm. One of the physicians that we highlighted how she got her start was going out into the community. Her counterparts was serving people within the hospital, but they assigned to her going into the community to service poor individuals. And whether or not it was something that she wanted or something that was placed upon her, we don't know. But what we do know is that being able to make that connection, right there inside of the community was it was phenomenal. It was what people needed. They needed someone to care
Right.
about their need, their environment. All of this goes into, being able to get the care to raise. And it's not just about bringing this baby into the world. It's about everything else that comes after that as well.
Absolutely,
The
absolutely.
mindset.
Absolutely. How I can't think about bringing this baby in the world if I can't even pay the rent or get to work to pay the rent that I need to afford this child a better life. So absolutely, it's
Mhm,
it's it's,
mhm,
it's those social determinants of health that definitely impact that the doulas address. Those are what they're addressing. Yes, they are providing the knowledge base of how to give birth and you becoming in tune to your body and what that looks like, but it's the aftercare, it's that postpartum care of
mm,
I need somebody to do my laundry because I'm over here and I have to nurse my child, right?
mhm,
I don't have the capacity to cook dinner as well as nurse. And so
mhm,
those are the elements that the traditional medical system, they're not addressing those concerns. They're addressing, go in, have a baby. When you leave, if you appear to be okay, then you're okay and we'll see you.
mhm, mhm. What are some of the medical conditions that you find that have been more prevalent with women who are not getting the care they need in
Pulmonary
this?
embolisms,
Mhm,
gestational diabetes, low birth rate for the child. um, I said embolisms, cardiac arrest,
mm,
heart problems, and these are things that they don't otherwise have. These are things that arise during pregnancy. So you
mm,
can go in and be in tip top shape, but then the moment that your body prepares to have a baby, these things onset. And so stroke, um,
mm,
yeah, I talked about in diabetes, pulmonary embolisms, cardiac arrest, cardiovascular concerns.
mhm. And these are all things that could
Prevent-
essentially
pre-
be prevented.
Absolutely preventable.
Mhm,
Yep.
mhm,
That's the hardest thing about Black maternal mortality is that over 80% of the pregnancy related complications that result in death, they were preventable. They just weren't adequately addressed or resolved.
Yeah, Sandrell says, yeah, kidney failure
Yep.
would
Kidney
be
failure.
one. Yeah, absolutely. Wow. So, this is something that, as you think about the population that needs this more, you think about women who have to just choose between, am I going to breastfeed versus am I going to give formula?
Mhm.
Okay. And not going through that process where even you have your lactation consultant where you're
Mhm.
teaching this woman about, hey, this young mother, this is how you latch on. This is how you get the baby to latch on, and the benefits. I
Mhm.
think a lot of times you don't even talk about the benefits, long-term benefits. I know when of course, I had my child 35 years ago, as of today, 35 years ago. And breastfeeding was not, it was do it or not do it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, do it or not do it. So to me, there was not a, like, there wasn't a pressing, oh, this is why you do this,
Mhm.
because this will help increase her brain and her health, and
Her
keep,
lungs.
her
Mhm.
lungs, and keep, it wasn't, it just wasn't shared. I mean, I went in and had a baby,
Yep.
and when breastfeeding became uncomfortable, as it can be
Oftentimes. Absolutely.
oftentimes, right, it wasn't shared that keep pressing through. It
And
is,
you
it's worth it.
and that's the support of doulas, right? It's,
Mhm.
when you it's much easier when you have somebody to support you, to say, you know
Right.
what, you are doing an awesome job. I know that this is challenging. I know that that is sore. Here's some cream, because that's the
Mhm.
other thing. Like, there are things to
Yeah.
enhance the experience. Use this. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? But those are the things that you walk away from, and I talk
Mhm.
most about my experience, because i I had a daughter 7 years ago, and it was go to the lactation specialist. We went to the visit 2 or 3 times. We went home, and that was it. No one talked about the soreness. No one talked about, what to do after. But imagine having someone coaching you,
Mhm.
giving you the encouragement that you need to press on. You are doing an awesome job. Think
Mhm.
about the benefits, the long-term benefits that this will have for your kid when she's 10. Those
Mhm.
those encouraging words and acknowledging things that are often offered by doulas in that experience at the hospital. I just didn't have that experience. I had my daughter on a Friday, and by Sunday morning at 7, I was going home, and I had a
Mhm.
C-section. Um,
Mhm.
and so my experience of, just having the support of saying, you know what, you have stairs, you had a C-section, it's probably best that you kind of, cohabitate on the first floor. No one shared
Mhm.
that with me.
Mhm.
This is all knowledge that I read later in 2018 going into 2020 about
Mhm.
just the support. Because if I'm honest, I knew of doulas and midwives, but I had no understanding of the impact of um
Mhm.
and the severity of how they're saving women's lives, Black women's lives in particular.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the support system,
Absolutely.
we our support system, a lot of times the woman, that you are your own support system. If you don't come from an environment where grandma and mom is there, and like you said your mom wasn't there. And I think the thing that happens is, we get so used to being a certain way
Hmm.
that we don't even realize that it may be, I don't want to really say dysfunctional, but in a sense it may be where we function in dysfunction. We make it happen. We work. We've been raising children for a very, very long time, and we make do with what we have. However,
It's killing us.
to
That
have
right there. It's
we're,
it's
we're,
it's
we're
killing us.
yeah, just a little bit of more information and education is key, and support can
Mhm,
make the difference, not just with the mom, but with that child. And as that child
mhm.
continues to grow, the community that family is in.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. Those are all determining factors. I do want to talk a little bit Miss Boo's, about um how you said we just function, we continue to do it, and we do
Mhm.
and we do our very best. But what the literature and the data says is that, and that working and continue to work in that realm, that stress is going to kill us. It's going to kill
Mm.
us. We have to find additional ways for support, and that's amongst us. We have to find ways to be supported and accept,
Mhm.
or we just
Mm.
brush it off. We have to one, be open to the support.
Yeah,
But the other thing is that we have to understand that we cannot do it alone.
we
Can't do
cannot
it
do it alone. That is so true. And a lot of times, because of our situations, and because, when we do go to some of the healthcare facilities, um it is even, we have that perception of, we're strong Black women, we really don't need, certain things. And like you said, we have to be also open, you
alone.
know open to, there are great, facilities that will give some information, but we also have to be willing to receive it as well.
Hmm. I think, also when we think about ourselves as Black women or women of color, that we are the experts of our health, right?
Mm.
We know more than we can, a provider. He's looking or she's looking at you, but if you know that there's something wrong with you, we have to acknowledge and address, like, wait on, hold on. I know you said that that's standard procedure, or that's not covered by
Mm.
my insurance. Hold on, wait a minute. I'm
Mhm.
not sure that I care that that's not covered, because something's going on, and I need you to show me a policy or procedure that says that this is not standard routine, or it is standard routine. We have to
Mm.
we have to be advocates and use our voices to say, when we understand that, especially in the medical field, whether it's mental health or if it's physical health, we have these routine checkups and we go, but we're told, oh, that happens all the time. Well, this is
Mhm.
happening different to me and I feel different. So run this test. Or is
Mhm.
there a test that can be run to ensure that everything is okay? And so I do want to highlight
Mhm.
that we are the experts of our health, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
We know when there's something thoroughly wrong. I
Right.
don't want to discount the medical field and the education and the knowledge that goes into it, but I do have to acknowledge that there has been several times where there were misdiagnoses or no diagnosis, because
Mhm.
I saw two women come in here that don't look like you, and that was their outcome. So that's going to be your outcome too. So I won't give you a test that requires, or your insurance only allows me to test this every 6 months, and you're only in a 3 month window. Um,
Mhm.
we have to use our voices and say,
Yeah.
do the test anyway.
Yeah, and I hear you, because when you think about it, if, we go in and it's already predetermined that,
Yep.
well, you're not able to afford this anyway,
Yep.
so I'm not going to bring this up to you. However, allow me to know the facts,
Yep.
and then allow me to make that choice and decision. And what you have determined, I may be so far out of that stereotype that you have no idea, but I just need the information so
Absolutely.
that I can make the right decision. We were
Absolutely.
talking about this, I think, in the last session, where just something like breast exams and mammograms, and if you have dense tissue and on your mammogram, and it comes back that you have dense tissue, not much conversation is said. Well, then your next step is
Or your next
ultra
step should
ultra
be.
yeah,
Absolutely.
to have an ultrasound. And so many women could have avoided this next step, a cancer diagnosis, but it's not being said. It's not being talked about. It's not the options,
The
you
options.
know.
It's
Give
about
me
options. The options are.
let me know my options, and because when you think about integrated health, and you can kind of talk a little bit about how you feel integrated health plays a factor, or is it a positive or a benefit, when dealing with maternal health. Integrated health gives you more options. However, it's not always covered, a lot of the services, but at the same time, give me the information and allow me to determine whether or not how I am going to afford it. Now, in communities where you have more poverty level, that may not be an option, but there has to be something that
Mm-hmm.
we can do to continue to share information at a level that it can be
The larger
acceptable.
conversation is because I'm in poverty, I don't get the same care. That's the conversation.
Exactly.
The conversation is that, because I'm in poverty, I don't get the same treatment. I'm treated
Mhm,
unfairly. I don't get those same things because I can't afford it. My health is
mhm,
not of value because I live in a rural area or a lower social economic area or a not so affluent neighborhood. But the larger question is I'm still worthy of that care.
mhm,
I'm still worthy of that care. And so the larger question is that all care, integrated care, should be
mhm.
afforded to everyone. It should be afforded
Exactly.
to everyone.
Mhm, mhm. So tell us a little bit more about where are you now in your journey?
So
And
so currently in my journey, I am the director of resources. So I work for something called Roof Above, and so I'm still in homeless services. However, I'm on the journey of looking to open a birthing center, a Black
mm,
owned birthing center. There was a birthing center here in Charlotte and it closed down.
mhm,
But when you talk about integrated care, this is not just a birthing center. It has social workers, it has case managers, it has definitely implications of doula services. And so I'm in a process of writing a business plan. I'm looking for
okay,
space. I'm looking for providers.
mhm,
I'm looking for a team to employ, something what I'm calling BEST, which is Black Empowerment Support Team for Moms.
mm,
And so that's where I am in my journey. I am, looking for grant funding. I am, as it says in my bio, like I just believe that we are worthy and we deserve safe and successful birthing and postpartum experiences. And I think that that's my life work. I think that that is my charge, and I think to do that, it has to have an integrative model that employs not just the birthing part of it or the medical part. It has to have the doulas, but it also has to have women and men that look like us.
mhm,
So we have this idea of trust. And so that's where I am right now.
mm.
It's my, best is my baby right now, and I am working, diligently to look for funders and sponsorships.
Awesome. So as you said, you were working with our unhoused neighbors, and how do you see? I mean, just well, I won't even ask the question. What's the impact you see?
Um, it's unreal. So I will tell you that I have been with Roof Above, formerly known as Urban Ministry Center, for 9 years.
Mm,
I've been in my current role for 7 years, and the accessibility to resources and the things that we provide for our house neighbors. The Where I work, simply, we provide showers, we provide laundry, we provide food 365 days, snow, rain, shine.
mhm,
Um, the impact of unhoused neighbors and pregnant women that I see
mhm,
on my campus,
mhm,
um, and knowing that their accessibility to care and what it is covered under Medicaid, um, it just makes me want to fight harder. I actually saw a young woman yesterday sitting outside on a bench, and she was looking for, she hadn't even had a prenatal checkup, and she had to be almost 4 months. Um, and she just simply said, I can't accrue the medical bills.
mm,
I have Medicaid, but she has a dual diagnosis, and there's some other specialty care that she can't afford. But we have this homeless grant, which is good, that people don't know about. That we are able to assist individuals with, like herself, to where that because she's under the homeless grant, she'll get all the specialty care she needs, whether that's through like for physicians reach out or Charlotte Community Health Clinic. But it was eye opening to just be able to sit down and talk to a young lady. I can't
mhm.
disclose as much,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
to have a conversation with her. I think that God keeps putting people to tell me like this is the work. It has to be done. It's important.
Mhm.
And here's
Mhm.
another reason why.
Mm. That really makes my heart stop, when you say that, okay, at first there's no hope. This woman is going through, and her option, the only option that she saw fit was that I just can't afford it.
They can't afford it.
I
They can't
I
afford it.
just I just can't afford it.
Every time
And
I go, they ask me for a copay. Every time I
yeah.
go, I'm asked for a copay. I can barely get through the door
Mhm.
because I don't have the $50.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so though I mean that these are real scenarios like this. Unfortunately, these are real stories that um Black women are facing.
Yeah.
Young as well as middle age and even older. And we're talking about maternal health, but this is the healthcare system in general.
Mhm.
This is the
Mhm.
healthcare system in general.
Mhm.
There's a gap of accessibility,
Mhm.
and culturally responses to what our needs are as well.
Correct. Correct. Is there anything that you would say the healthcare industry is doing well as it relates to Black maternal health?
I will say yes, and I hate to put plugs out there, but Atrium Health has a doula program.
All right.
Atrium
Okay.
Atrium Health has a doula program, and so I know
Mhm.
I shared that North Carolina is a little bit behind on this. We have Elma Adams, who is one of the
Mhm.
co-pilots of Black maternal health, and she's fighting vigorously for policies and things to be changed. So I have to acknowledge that there is work being done in North Carolina. There is work
Mhm.
being done. However, there's more work that needs to be done. We are behind, but there are programs where Atrium Health are employing a doula service that they are launching. And
Mhm.
so I have to say that yes, there are some things that the healthcare system is doing. There are, currently in the literature, it does talk about like maternal health review boards, where these are
Mhm.
sanctions of, how many deaths did your hospital experience, and how many of them were Black
Mhm.
women. And those
Gotcha.
things are being reviewed. So there are things that are happening,
Mhm.
that the medical entity is they're trying. So I
Gotcha.
can't say it's all bad.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you also had some links that you wanted to highlight and wanted to share some information regarding that. Is this a great place to get through
Absolutely.
some of those? Okay. All
Yes.
right.
So
So,
I think, okay, so specifically because doula care is so important, I have two links that I think are worth exploring. And so once you click on a link, it'll take you directly to those pages of one is going to tell you about maternal health and racism, and where we are and how doulas are impacting that space. The other is just going to tell you about doulas in general and what they do. So those are the two links that I posted. The other link um, that I posted was about mental health, and this is my plight that I'm going to go ahead and put out there. Is I think that while we are Black women and we are facing some challenges and health disparities, ways to mitigate that is through sufficiently addressing our mental health. And so
mm,
if you don't have a therapist, and I do understand that there's barriers to those, get you one. And if you can't get a therapist, find your self-care regimen. And so the link that you'll see, you'll find it'll allow you to take a quiz, and it's all free, and it'll link
mm,
you to a provider. I also want to say that if you think you don't have access, there's other resources out there that allows you to have access to therapy. Like if you are working, you might have an EAP program.
mm,
Your job may have a program that will help offset costs. A lot of people are a little leery about the EAP program, but I will say it offers about 3 to 4 sessions, and I think that's enough to change your life, for you to want to at
yeah.
least try to invest. And so that's my
Yeah.
plug on mental health.
Yeah, and I would like to also add, and I've said this before with EAP. I've had my same EAP therapist for 8 years.
See.
And so it is about establishing that relationship. And a lot of companies, like the company that I'm with, will give us six sessions a year on one subject. So if I'm dealing with one area, there's 6 sessions, and then if there's something else, then there's another 6 sessions. There is a lot of stigma concerning EAP,
Mm-hmm.
but I always encourage people, if you get one EAP therapist that's not a good fit, just like anything else, you go to a restaurant and it's not the best restaurant, well, you're not going to go
Again,
again. You're going to go to a different one. So just
absolutely.
keep trying, but it's so essential.
It is.
If even with this topic conversation, it could provide a place where someone remembers, and things are triggering. I mean,
Triggering,
we now have
absolutely.
the 988 number that is available for mental health. So we want people to know, if this information or anything, if you are even having any mental health situations, 988 is a number that you can call now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
those are the links that I think will be very beneficial and taken away. They are
Mhm.
something that you can go back and absorb later. You can go back and read each time that I read, especially for that link for doulas and how they're impacting the divide. Every time I go back and I read that, I learn more and more each time. Um,
Mhm.
that's essential to just the work that I'm going to do and the work that I'm doing, but also the conversations that I'm having with the people that I work with as well.
Right. And Chandra mentions that policy change creates greater impact.
Absolutely.
And yeah, absolutely. And so as you're working through getting, and it's best, is that
Best.
your
Uh-huh.
baby? Yeah. As you're developing that, what are some things that, if you had a wish, if you had your greatest desire, what would that be for best?
That it provide accessibility to all women, to all Black women, like all women of color, right? Because what we oftentimes, this is what I'll say. Black maternal mortality doesn't have a social economic status, right? Serena Williams experienced complications. Beyonce Knowles experienced complications. Shalon Irving, an epidemiologist, died January 28th, 2017. Um, it
Mm,
it doesn't have a social economic or class. It's happening to
mm,
everybody, and so I don't want it to seem that because I'm a doctor, I want this. I want the accessibility for all Black women, for all women of color. We
mhm.
deserve it. We deserve to live.
Yeah.
And so that would be my aspiration, is that best, um not only, and that is national, that is a
Mhm.
national entity, that Black women across the nation get to experience safe and successful birthing experiences that leads them to have great postpartum experiences.
Mhm. And postpartum is one area that we don't have enough conversation
Absolutely.
about. Um, we have been in a position of, we just have to deal with it.
Yep.
We just have to, suck it up and do our best, or or we may seem weak,
Mhm.
but postpartum,
It's real.
is real.
It's real.
It's real, and
Absolutely.
it is so. So let me allow you to expound on that, as we are wrapping some things up. So what would be your feedback on postpartum,
I
and
would I would
ways
say,
we could help?
yep. I would say definitely take it serious.
Mhm.
Postpartum is something that in the Black community, like mental health concerns, is swept under the rug. You had a baby, you're right. You're right. It happens to the best of us. But what I want to say is that the data says that women who are experiencing postpartum, those are the ones that are having the fatalities, because
Mm,
they, it looks as stress. She just stressed out because she's staying up all night with the baby.
mm,
When
mm,
and really her heart and her lung, there's a blood clock. And
mm.
so addressing postpartum doesn't just mean your mental health; it's your physical health as well. And
Awesome.
so I encourage people to build support systems, and I think that's one thing with Best is that it employs the postpartum up to 2 years. The 2 years
Mm,
is to have support. Um, Up to 2 years after you're having a baby. We know
mm,
that women, according to the National World Organization, that women can die up to 42 days after having a baby. That's considered still Black maternal health or maternal mortality up to 42
mm.
days. So
Wow.
I definitely would say, take it seriously, build, support systems, and I definitely think that that's one of the biggest pillars of the organization that I'm trying to create, is that it doesn't stop at 6 weeks. Postpartum
Mhm,
doesn't stop at 6 weeks. Actually, we know it goes
mhm,
well beyond those 6 weeks.
mhm,
So to understand, and for women to understand that, oh, my 6 weeks is up. I'm no longer in postpartum. I'm finished. But then you still,
mhm.
I don't feel well.
Right,
I'm
right.
I'm down, or I can't get out of bed. I don't feel like taking
Mhm,
care of my baby.
mm.
Those are things that we have to make sure that we're aware of.
That's awesome. Well, I can definitely see that as time and the years go by, your name could most certainly be on this list of women,
I
Black
sure hope
women in health. We'll be scrolling your name on there. So, really, how can we support you? How can we connect with you?
I would say, my name is there. Um, my email is there. If come across, a grant that is supporting, providers in Black maternal health, please shoot me that. I'm so eager to get off the ground. But just to mention my name in rooms, if
Yeah.
there's another opportunity that I can share in this space with you guys, think of me. I am open to doing it. I have
Mhm.
had a tremendous time tonight speaking with you
Yes.
guys and having this conversation and dialogue.
Yeah, there's one saying that I learned through the Women's Business Center, who has always supported myself as well as Chandrell for many years, is never underestimate who's in the room. Never
Absolutely.
underestimate who is in the room, and that's because we do this together, and
We do.
that's why we do this, to be able to share this information, share others, share other professionals that are doing things in the community to help our community. It's about us. It's about us. It's for us.
It's for
And
us.
so, yeah, absolutely. So we really thank you for joining us. And if anyone, of course, Dr. Palmer's information is scrolling on the bottom, please reach out to her. Definitely share any information you have, because best will be one of the premier. I cannot wait for your birthing center. That when you said that, because I used to actually teach some classes over at the other birthing center, and I remember when it closed. Um, and the population though was primarily
Absolutely.
Caucasian. Yeah, so it's really, to see that is coming. We definitely want to support that. We definitely want to make sure we undergird you with prayer,
Absolutely.
and
Please.
continue to allow God to bless your efforts, because as He puts your hands to the plow and He blesses your hands, there are some women that are going to be tremendously blessed by your efforts. So we thank you for your yes, as I said before, your yes to God.
Yeah,
Secondly, your yes to us for being able to share more about Black maternal health.
absolutely. It has been a pleasure.
Yeah. So are there any last words or anything you would like to say?
We are the experts of our lives. We have to take care of us. Um, and, make sure we ask the questions. Make sure we are involved in our care. Too many times we're told this is what's wrong with you and this is what you need to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Take an active role in your care. It's about you, and at the end of the day, nobody can take care of you better than you.
Mm-hmm. Being confident
Absolutely.
that we know our bodies, and not having a feeling that I'm not being heard. We
Absolutely.
need to be heard. So I thank you. And if everyone that is on, whether you are listening to this live or you are listening to the rebroadcast, please definitely share this information. If you would like to support Sisters Healing and Involving, there is a link there. You can text underserved to 53-555 to support She. Learn more about She. We are doing some phenomenal things in the community. Dr. Michelle Marie Palmer. Say her name.
Say my name.
Know her best. We are looking forward to the many more things that you are doing. Thank you for your work that you're doing at A Roof Above. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your knowledge, and we thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for
You're
having me.
so welcome. You're so welcome. Everyone, have a good evening. We will see you next month.